Germany, after the First World War, was a nation drowning in humiliation. Streets filled with hunger, a broken army, and a wounded pride. Out of that chaos, one man emerged, not merely as a politician, but as a phenomenon. Adolf Hitler. His rise would fascinate, terrify, and scar humanity forever. This is not just history. It's a journey inside a mind that turned despair into domination. To understand Hitler is to confront the darkest corners of ambition. His story isn't only about war or ideology, it's about obsession, trauma, and control. Psychologists see him as the perfect case where emotional wounds became political power. In this story, every word, every silence, every rage hides a clue to the man behind the myth. Adolf Hitler was born in 1889 in Braunau, Austria. His father, Alois, was authoritarian, cold, demanding, and violent. His mother, Clara, was gentle but powerless to protect him. Psychologists believe this clash created a dual nature in him, the need to dominate and the craving to be adored. Two forces that would define his entire life. Analysts describe this phase as the birth of pathological narcissism, a fragile ego hiding behind delusions of greatness. He wasn't only hurt, he was humiliated. That humiliation evolved into a burning desire to prove his worth, not through creation, but domination. After the Great War, Germany was lost. Defeated, starved, desperate. Hitler, then a failed soldier, found in politics what he couldn't find in art. His speeches were fire. He didn't just talk, he hypnotized. He tapped into rage, fear, and pride buried deep within the German soul. Every word was deliberate. His tone, rhythm, and pauses were studied performances. He crafted simple enemies and simple answers. Germany's misery was not random. It was the work of traitors, Jews, communists. His psychology was that of projection, blaming others to cleanse his own pain. Psychologists call this mass transference, when a crowd transfers its hopes and hatred onto one figure. Hitler understood that instinctively. He became a mirror for collective despair, transforming individual suffering into national unity, a unity built on fear. Away from the spotlight, Hitler was strangely solitary. His life in the Führer's residence was a prison of his own making. He controlled everything, his schedule, his meals, even the flowers in his office. Psychologists see here obsessive-compulsive tendencies, a mind terrified of losing order, because chaos reminded him of childhood fear. His relationship with Eva Braun was never one of love in the human sense. It was possession. She existed in the shadows, tolerated but never equal. To Hitler, intimacy meant control. Affection was weakness. Power was purity. That emotional detachment explains his coldness toward friends, allies, even generals. Hitler trusted no one. Betrayal obsessed him. Every failure reinforced his paranoia. The longer he ruled, the smaller his circle became, until he stood alone, commanding an empire through fear, convinced that no one else could carry his vision. By the mid-1930s, Hitler had transformed Germany. The economy revived, roads were built, factories roared, and pride returned. To the outside world, he seemed a genius. Inside, however, psychologists note the signs of grandiose delusion, the belief that he alone was chosen by destiny. Success fed his ego. He began to believe his instincts were infallible, that history itself bent to his will. Advisors became yes-men. Experts were silenced. Every triumph made him more detached from reality. He started mistaking luck for genius, applause for immortality. Propaganda turned him into a myth. His portrait hung in homes, his words in classrooms, his presence in dreams. He was no longer a man, he was an idea. And ideas, unlike men, don't doubt themselves. That illusion of perfection became his most dangerous weapon, and his ultimate downfall. When war returned, it wasn't strategy that guided him. It was faith in himself. Psychologists describe this as narcissistic overconfidence, the refusal to accept limits. He believed willpower could conquer reality. The invasion of the Soviet Union was not a military decision. It was a psychological compulsion, a test of divine destiny. As defeat approached, his paranoia grew. He accused his generals of betrayal, his people of weakness. The man who once unified Germany now turned against it. His speeches became rants, his logic crumbled. What remained was a delusional ego fighting against truth itself. Even in the bunker, surrounded by destruction, he couldn't accept failure. Psychologists see this as cognitive collapse, when a narcissist's illusion of control shatters, leaving only rage and denial. In his final days, he destroyed everything he built, because a world without his victory was, in his mind, a world unworthy of survival. Adolf Hitler was not a monster born, but a man shaped by fear, rejection, and obsession. His intelligence was real, his charisma undeniable, but his empathy was dead. And without empathy, intellect becomes destruction. His story is a warning of what happens when trauma meets power without conscience. Psychologists studying him today find not just madness, but a mirror. Within his story lies a terrifying truth, that under the right conditions, fear, humiliation, chaos, ordinary minds can follow extraordinary evil. Hitler's mind may be gone, but the forces that created him still live among us. Subscribe for more stories that uncover the psychology behind history's greatest rises and darkest falls.